G'day YouTube and welcome back to my channel. My name is Matthew Vandeputte. I'm from Belgium. I live in Sydney, Australia. I'm a timelapse and hyperlapse photographer, and this channel is all about timelapse travel and teaching. That was quick. I've done it a few times. So today I'm teaching you a little bit about time-lapsing while traveling. Isn't that special? Time-lapse clips from the airplane at night, shoot some stars, flying over some cities. It looks pretty cool. Now let me tell you what you need for that. You obviously need to be on an airplane and you need to be flying at night. You need to be close to the window or have close access to the window, I guess, so you can actually prop your camera up against the window. You need something to put your camera on. Look at that, a neck pillow. You know those things? I used to not love these, but now I travel with it everywhere because it's actually really useful. I put this on top of my bag and then I rest the camera on that, and this like kind of minimizes vibrations. I think I've got a photo or some video of that. Let's play that clip. You get the idea. Then obviously you need a camera as well. The camera ideally is a new one because the newer cameras are better when it comes to low light. So you boost the ISO, which is low light performance. The low light performance needs to be great because you won't be shooting 30-second photos. You'll be shooting short interval photos. More on the settings later. You also need a great lens, a preferably wide angle and a fast lens. And for that, oh yeah, I forgot to show you the camera. It's not really relevant. This is a camera. I shot mine on the 1DX that I'm currently shooting on, so I can't really show you that. This is a 5D SR that I barely use anymore, but it's a camera and I needed something to show you. And this is the lens I use. This is a Canon 24mm 1.4 lens. The 1.4 is the f-stop, which means the hole, the cylinder through which, the tunnel through which the light goes, the tunnel is quite large, so it lets in a lot of light. And that's what you need. You need a fast, wide lens on a well-performing camera. And then you need something to trigger your camera. Now, a lot of the Sonys trigger internally. I think Nikon does that as well, or Nikon, however you want to call it. This is a Canon, this is a Canon remote. These are quite expensive. I've set up a little link, a kit describing all the gear that I have. So if you want to figure out what I use or what you can use, check that out. Links in the description. It goes over all the pieces of kit that you need. Now, something else you need, and if you would have tried this shooting out of a plane, you would have noticed this. You need something to block off reflections because, boy, reflections are terrible. This thing is magic. It travels with me everywhere. It's called a lens skirt. Get the question all the time. I've used it so long. It's a bit faded. I don't know. You can't even tell the name. It's got these little, what do you call these? Suction thingies? Suction zaagknep, we call it in Dutch. And this goes over your lens, and it pretty much, it's, I don't know. It's maybe like $100 or less, $50. I don't know. It's in the kit link below as well. And this just goes in my bag because it weighs barely anything, and it is so incredibly useful for blocking off reflections, not just from airplanes, but any window that you're shooting through pretty much. So a must-have, this one. Now you know what you need to shoot these. I'm going to tell you how you shoot them, and I mean camera settings, or photo settings, I guess. So I shot these with a 3-second exposure. I know that's pretty short. So for 3 seconds long, the light would fall onto the sensor. The sensor sensitivity, because that's not a super long exposure, the sensitivity needs to be pretty high to capture all that light, right? So my ISO was at about 10,000, which works really well on the 1DX. Lower end cameras, unfortunately, won't be as well performing as the 1DX or you know, the Sony A7 S series, because they're really good in low light. My interval would have been 4 seconds, so a 3-second exposure, then a 1-second gap, and then again, it shoots a photo. So 4-second interval, 3-second exposure. That's cutting it close, so you need a fast write speed and a fast memory card in your camera as well. Oh yeah, the photo, the aperture value or the f-stop that I used was obviously as wide as I could to let in as much light as possible. That was at f1.4. And then how you capture the photo itself, you can shoot JPEGs if you want, but if you shoot RAW, you'll have more room in post-processing for adding a little bit of exposure and denoising it in a better way. A JPEG pretty much is a really heavily compressed photo file, where a RAW is the raw data that comes from the sensor, and you'll be able to manipulate your photo sequence way better. Now that you've shot, or I guess, yeah, you've shot the sequence, I recommend shooting between 250 to 300 photos in a row at 25 or 30 frames a second. That gives you exactly 10 seconds of video footage. Now, how do you go about creating this? This is my workflow. Grab the photos from your memory card, put them on a hard drive, import the contents of that hard drive into Lightroom, color grade your sequences, save the metadata, which saves a little extra sidecard file next to your RAW file, a little XMP file. It saves it next to it. Then you import that sequence into After Effects. After Effects recognizes the edit that you've done, you know, lens corrections, denoising, you name it, sharpening, adding exposure, changing white balances. It'll recognize all the edits that you've done because it's saved that little extra metadata file. Import that sequence as a image sequence, and it'll actually look at it as every photo is a video frame. That's kind of how you can look at it. Then you create a composition in After Effects, and then you export that composition in any codec that you want. I use the Apple ProRes 422 codec a lot, which is just a really nice codec that I like to use if you're on PC. I'm not entirely sure what codecs people use on PCs these days. I don't think you can use the Apple ProRes codec, but I've seen people use AVI files and stuff, and all those other things. So do a bit of research on what the best highest quality codec is these days. I think Premiere is now playing around with the HEVC codec, which is H.265. All that new stuff. I need to look into that to educate myself a bit more. But yeah, pretty much that was my workflow. That's how I shot these sequences, and that's what I used to shoot these sequences. Again, check out the gear list below if you want to find out what I used specifically, and then you can adapt. You can adapt that list for your own needs. And yeah, fingers crossed you shoot a amazing sequence. What else is happening? Yeah, so this video I'm shooting after I go back from China, which is that trip, right before I'm leaving to Vanuatu to go to a climate change passion project, which is going to be pretty fun. So this will probably be live when I'm in Vanuatu, roughing it in the bush with my mate Jeff.
My name is
That's
Jeff.
a whole other project, and if you're interested in that, you can check out the vlog playlist, because I do vlogs a couple a week, and that's pretty fun. If you are very enormously grateful for this video and this knowledge that I've shared with you, you can check out my Patreon page, where you can support me and my channel and all my passion projects and all my whatevers you want to call it. There's also a time-lapse cheat sheet that you can download from there at one of the tiers, and then there's early access to vlogs and other content and free wallpapers and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop talking now. I was trying to make this video short and sweet. I guess I failed. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Any suggestions as well, share that info, share that knowledge with the other people that are in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.